Hi, I'm going to read the beginning of chapter 7 in my book Sepia. In this chapter, Sigrid and Wolfgang are leaving Germany to travel to Australia. During the European autumn of September 1966, migrants Wolfgang, Sigrid, other young people and paying passengers left Bremerhaven aboard the Angelina Lauro, bound for Sydney. A journey that would take 6 weeks. In a fashion like cattle transportation, 4 men were allocated per small cabin and 4 women to another. The ship went via the Suez Canal before the canal's 8-year closure at the beginning of the Six-Day War. In Port Said, Sigrid and Wolfgang joined a group for a stroll around the harbour. Dark, deeply embedded memories of soldiers infiltrated Sigrid's consciousness. She felt uncomfortable. I find all these uniformed men here intimidating, especially with their threatening rifles. Nonetheless, after some haggling, they ended up buying a red leather proof cover. Those were the days when being oblivious about customs declarations did not result in a hefty fine on entering Australian shores. The ship's first stop in Australia was Fremantle. It was Sunday and the area surrounding the harbour and Peter Hughes Drive was deserted. Sigrid observed, there is no person, dog, anybody or anything. Have we landed on the movie set off on the beach? Wasn't that made in Australia? It's so post-apocalyptic. Wolfgang could not offer an explanation. Days later, they arrived in Melbourne, from where they were transported by train in wooden railway carriages to the Victorian town of Bonegilla, which was a collection camp for all new arrivals. From there, people were allocated to various regions in Australia. Wolfgang and Sigrid decided to try their luck in Brisbane, a decision based on a chance meeting with a fellow German traveller, Dieter, on the Angelina Lauro. He was married to an Australian woman from Monto in Queensland. This state has a great future. It has plenty of mining resources and construction work. It also has the best climate of all Australian states. That would be the place to go. Wolfgang looked at Sigrid. Why not try it there? Yes, Brisbane is the capital, isn't it? Sure is, Dieter confirmed. Sigrid queried, perhaps we should go there first and see what it's like. We are more used to the life in the city. Wolfgang nodded. You've got a point there. As long as they have jazz clubs, Sigrid chuckled. I don't know about that. It's not really my scene, was Dieter's contribution, leaving Sigrid pondering about a period in her past that had seemed carefree oh so long ago. The Queensland government was quite selective as to who should be allowed to settle in their state. The prerequisites included having learned the English language and having a trade or profession that the government deemed worthy. The Schultz couple met these criteria and were allocated to go to Brisbane. First, though, they had to partake in the compulsory bus tour of Albury-Wodonga, which was recommended as a place for newcomers to settle and which seemed in need of populating. Disregarding the enticements, make your future and fortune in prosperous Albury, Wodonga, Wolfgang and Sigrid boarded another wooden train en route to Queensland. It was a long journey on a slow train, stopping for refreshments at various townships along the way. Sigrid and Wolfgang hopped out of the carriage and collected warm sandwiches made from unfamiliar soggy white bread wrapped in grease-proof paper. As confirmed coffee drinkers, the Schulzes accepted the predictable cup of milky, weak and lukewarm tea with some reluctance. From the carriage window, they saw a landscape enormously different to what they were accustomed to in Germany. Parched open plains, undulating hills in faded sandy brown colors dotted with gum trees instead of the verdant, modulated greens of the Taunus forest near Frankfurt. Here, kangaroos were hopping beside the track instead of squirrels racing up trees and elegant deer trotting through the woods. After what felt like endless travel, they drew closer to the suburbs of the Sunshine State's subtropical capital. At the sight of many houses on stilts, Sigrid remarked, "Look, these wooden houses are on posts. They remind me of the prehistoric settlements on the Bodensee. At a glance, they really look similar, except here the posts don't go into the water." The small, identically sized garden sheds at the end of each backyard were equally puzzling to her. Such neat and regimented people live here. They all have the same sized garden sheds. See? She pointed her arm towards the window. Same, same, and same. Do they also possess the same sized garden tools? I don't know. It seems odd though. I never came across anything like that in South Africa, is all Wolfgang could add. Well, to get away from the city, my mother's friend Astrid has a Schrebergarten out in the suburbs of Frankfurt. On weekends, she loves being in the fresh air of her allotment garden. I've been there a couple of times, but her little hut is bigger than those. These here are just too identical and much too small. How peculiar. They did not know that during the mid-1960s, Brisbane was only just in the process of being piped and sewered. The drains could not cope with the regular afternoon showers in summer, and before the 1974 floods, housing lots were regularly inundated. As for the cute little garden sheds, they turned out to be outside toilets, or dunnies in the Australian jargon. They were being emptied once a week by a dunny man. He came in a truck, carried an empty bin on his shoulder to replace the used one. These were not the only surprises for the couple. The humidity struck them as they arrived at Brisbane Central Railway Station. "You can cut this air with a knife. It's like a sauna. I can't breathe." "I know, Siggy, it's worse in South Africa. At least there the heat is dry." "Oh, Wolfie, what have we done? I want to go home." The thought of having to repay the cost of the journey or any monetary outlay incurred by the Australian government prompted his retort, "Let's wait and see." They were transported by bus to the Wakel Migrant Hostel. Inauspiciously, the dwellings and fences from those days are today still at the exact location, and the hostel is now renamed Wakel Correctional Center. On Sigrid and Wolfgang's arrival, the center's wooden dwellings were divided into rooms for couples or families, depending on their number. The Schulzes had one room. Another astonishing sight for Sigrid were those weird, corrugated iron huts that were used for accommodation. They looked like upside-down boats. These prompted her reminiscence about her treasured David Copperfield book. How I loved leafing through the pages when I was young. The book belonged to Heinz, a present from his friend Werner, a 1920 German edition. I'd spent hours studying the illustrations by Fiss. Anyway, I'm glad Mother let me have it. That, the photo of Heini with me and my Knusperchen are the most precious possessions I have in this strange new land. Wolfie, in my David Copperfield book, such an upside-down boat was a home on the beach. Little Emily lived there when Master Davy and Peggotty visited Yarmouth to see her brother. As much as I loved that book, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would follow in Davy's footsteps. Live in an upside-down hut, in an upside-down country. Yes, it is odd to live in them today. Resembling the setup of a caravan park, a brick building housed an administration block. Another building contained showers, toilets, and communal laundry facilities. There was also a child-minding center. Like any space that accommodates people from different nationalities, the migrants at Wakel followed a uniform routine. Set times for 3 daily meals in the canteen. Set times for the weekly pickup of linen and towels. Set times for this, set times for that, set times for living. Nowadays, these premises accommodate those who have come into conflict with the law and serve their time at Her Majesty's pleasure. Like the migrants before them, they follow a set routine on their path to reformed integration into society. Somewhat ironically, but to their credit, it seems that Australia cares for both migrants and prisoners in the same egalitarian fashion.